How's it going, everybody? I am DeanoGTO, and today we're looking at the 45 TP, the tier 7 Polish heavy tank. I'm going to quickly just sum up my overall opinions on this vehicle. So, first thing I'm going to mention is it's a massive change of pace in comparison to the 40 TP, the tier 6 Polish medium tank, because that tank is just horrible. It's awful. Like, I can't think of another tank in the game which is as bad as that at tier 6. Like, I really can't. So yeah, this thing is a really nice change of pace after that thing, because it's reasonably quick, has a 35 km/h top speed, has an overall pretty decent part to weight ratio, was able to maintain over 30 km/h relatively easily, has 8 degrees of gun suppression and a strong turret. And here's the thing, the mobility you're seeing of this vehicle, or on this vehicle right now in this video, I did something interesting with this vehicle when it came to the grind. So one thing that's kind of important to note when it comes to the Polish tanks just in general is that they don't share a lot of modules with their higher tier counterparts. So there's not really much benefit to getting the top engines and stuff like that. So what I decided to do, because you can do this in this vehicle, this is one of the rare vehicles where you can do what I'm about to say, you can fully upgrade the turret and the gun without needing the tracks or the engine. So you can go with the stock engine, stock tracks, and stock radio, and have a fully upgraded turret and gun on the stock suspension. That's a rare thing to see in this game. So it's something I took advantage of for this grind, and I completed the grind. I probably showed a screenshot earlier, without actually unlocking the engine or the tracks. So it's a pretty interesting option to have with this vehicle when it comes to the grind. You can save yourself about 20, I think, from memory, I think it was about 25,000 XP from the grind if you choose to skip those two components, and it's about 4,000 XP I think for the radio as well, so it's about 30,000 XP total I think that you can save on the grind if you just skip those components. And honestly, it's not unreasonable to do so, because one thing that's kind of important to mention about this vehicle is the overall mobility. It has a 35 km/h top speed, which is not bad, it's actually pretty decent. But because the top speed is 35 km/h, I actually don't feel like you need that massive of a part of weight ratio. Because it does near enough that speed in most places anyway, so it kind of makes it feel like kind of an unnecessary boost, if that makes sense. To like add an extra, to add a more powerful engine in there. So yeah, that was my thinking on why I did it the way I did it. Now, I'm just going to quickly take a second to explain that shot versus that 53 TP. The one that looks like it had no chance of penetrating, but did actually penetrate. So, what happened there was, I aimed for the whole roof armor on the 53 TP. I overmatched the roof armor, and I was able to penetrate him and do damage with ease there. That was like a really opportunistic shot, and that's something I've been trying to do more often in the game. Like, it doesn't work all the time, and it's kind of rare to see it work, but that was thankfully one of those like lucky situations where it did work out for me, and I got to get some free damage on that 53 TP when he thought he was 100% invulnerable to me at that point. Now, one thing I'm going to mention here now, that 53 TP, this is a key example of just because you can fire premium rounds doesn't mean you're going to do the damage that you want to do. Because just watch, oh sorry, that's my alarm. Just watch how this guy handles this fight. Now, I'm using AP rounds this entire time. He has fired, I think, 4 or 5 premium rounds at me at this point, and he's penetrated me once. Look at how this guy handles this fight. He drives up into my face, I close the range, and deliberately tried to face hug him pretty much with my turret front. And my lag kind of goes up nuts here, so it's kind of difficult to aim this. But I managed to nail him in a lower tiered vehicle with only like, what was it? Like I had like a 400 health advantage. That really should have been his fight to win. Like, he shouldn't have had any problem winning that fight, but he got overconfident, he loaded nothing but premium rounds, and he basically fucked himself. That is why I very rarely fire premium rounds, because it makes you overconfident whenever you're firing premium rounds, and it makes you make mistakes like what that guy did. So yeah, and I finished that up. I killed the 53 TP, I killed the 40 TP, and I killed the T3045M. And also, one other thing I want to mention, the T3045M and the 40 TP, firing standard rounds, penetrated me with ease. Meanwhile, the 53 TP with like 250 penetration premium rounds didn't pen me. Like, just because you have premium rounds loaded doesn't mean that you don't have to aim. Like, I hope, like, I actually learned something from that experience where you just, like, got wrecked by a lower tiered tank, which is definitely outclassed by his tank. Like, I just, losing that situation, like, I honestly find that incredible. But, yeah, let's get back to the actual battle itself. So, I waited for the 1357 to move forward, and so that I was about to call it challenger, so that the charioteer would be spotted, and I'd be able to hopefully get a shot off into him. It looked like it was aiming in my general direction. Charioteer unfortunately managed to kill the 1357, which I would have preferred that not to happen if I'm honest. But that means, the 1357 moving forward there allowed us to kill the charioteer, which was going to be an absolute nightmare to deal with a bit later if we left him alive. So at this point, I'm moving forward, trying to like figure out what the enemy team is likely to be doing, because they have an LTG, Progito, and an MX-12T remaining. So the MX-12T actually hasn't been spotted in this game yet, and I have no idea where he is at this point. So this is kind of one of those situations where it's kind of risky to move forward, but I'm honestly feeling ballsy at this point, and I'm just kind of going for it. Not really giving too much of a fuck if I'm honest. I'm just kind of going for it at this point, just trying my luck to see what I can get away with. And that rewards me with a kill on the M12. And the M4 Jumbo is actually down to the south there, moving around as well. I think he may have been expecting some of the artillery to be over there. He spots the MX-12T and lights him up for me to be able to shoot at. One shot towards him there. I'm kind of hanging about here, waiting to see if I can get the kill. I spot in the mini-map the LTG has come forward just as I was doing that. LTG bounces a standard run off me. I bounced a shot off the 12T as well, and I managed to get the kill on the LTG. Now it's down to the moment where there's 2 artilleries and a Progito remaining. So, what's the best thing to do here? Play it careful or try and be risky and try and be aggressive? So, at this point, I can't decide to change the direction, because coming around the direction that they expect would almost certainly result in me getting shotgun. So, I reverse the direction and decide to move around to the left rather than the right, because it just seems like the more unpredictable direction to go down. The Soviet's actually spotted, and I finish him off there with that kill, and that's 6 kills in that game. I'm going to cut it off there because the GW Panther literally just runs out into the open and gets blasted pretty much immediately. So that was a pretty decent example of like how you can play the 45 TP in a decent matchup. So you don't typically want to be going head to head with higher tiered vehicles, because as you'd imagine you do lose a lot of health very quickly, but it can work out decently well for you if you are careful with the way you play and careful with the way you try to like angle your arm and stuff like that. Now I did get lucky in this game, I will admit that, but it kind of shows you, this here game kind of showed you like the overall handling characteristics of the vehicle. Like, it's got good gun depression, it's got decent turret armor as you saw versus that 53 TP, and the gun, it's actually pretty nice to use, but trust me, the gun can be very RNG dependent. It can troll the crap out of you sometimes. Okay, so this game was worth a first class mastery, Piscucci medal, top gun, and high caliber, but one thing I want to draw your attention to is the fact that this was a first class mastery. For 1,310 base XP game. That's a pretty good sign that people are doing really well in this tank, because over 1,300 XP is usually almost a guaranteed ace tanker for a tier 7 heavy, for tier 7 heavy tanks or tier 7s just in general. So needing more than 1,300 XP is not something you see particularly often. Like the T29 back in its full power days, pretty much is probably the best way to describe it. Before I think they nerfed the view range a little bit and the rate of fire just a wee bit. That thing there, you needed over 1,400 base XP to ace at one point. It's been a long time since I've seen anything come close to that. So that's definitely a good sign that people are doing well in this vehicle, and if people are doing well in it, I imagine that people are enjoying it as well. So yeah, like it's definitely an interesting vehicle, and I did like the vehicle for the most part. I did wind up selling it in the end, but that's mainly because I'm looking to progress up the line, because I really want a 60 TP. because that just seems like such an interesting, like awesome tier 10 vehicle to have. So yeah, hopefully I'll be able to get one before another line comes out, because that's been something I haven't been able to do in quite a long time. So yeah, let me know what you guys think of this video in the comment section below. What's your opinion of the Polish heavy tanks? The heavy tanks in particular, the tier 7 to 10, the tier 7 to 10. Don't know why I completely feel saying 10 there, but whatever. So far, the tier 7 definitely sort of like a medium heavy sort of combination. I've heard the tier 8 is really really good. So yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to like seeing how they play out. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section below, and thanks for watching. I will see you in the next one.